North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has pledged to denuclearize and meet U.S. officials following his historic meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Chinese officials also said President Xi promised that China would uphold its friendship with its isolated neighbor. After 2 days of speculation, China and North Korea both confirmed that Mr. Kim had visited Beijing and met Mr. Xi during what China's foreign ministry called an unofficial visit from Sunday to today. The China visit was Mr. Kim's first known trip outside North Korea since he assumed power in 2011. Some analysts believe it will serve as preparation for upcoming summits with South Korea and the U.S. Last month, U.S. President Donald Trump accepted an unprecedented invitation to meet Mr. Kim. North Korea's KCNA news agency made no mention of Mr. Kim's pledge to denuclearize, or his anticipated meeting with Mr. Trump that is planned for some time in May. China has traditionally been the closest ally of secretive North Korea, but ties have been frayed by Pyongyang's pursuit of nuclear weapons and China's backing of tough UN sanctions in response. China's foreign ministry cited Mr. Kim in a lengthy statement as telling Mr. Xi that the situation on the Korean peninsula was starting to improve because North Korea had taken the initiative to ease tension and put forward proposals for peace talks. It is our consistent stand to be committed to denuclearization on the peninsula, in accordance with the will of late President Kim Il-sung and late General Secretary Kim Jong-il, Mr. Kim said, according to the statement. North Korea is willing to talk with the United States and hold a summit between the two countries, he said. The issue of denuclearization of the Korean peninsula can be resolved, if South Korea and the United States respond to our efforts with goodwill, create an atmosphere of peace and stability while taking progressive and synchronous measures for the realization of peace, Mr. Kim said. Mr. Kim's predecessors, grandfather Kim Il-sung and father Kim Jong-il, both publicly promised not to pursue nuclear weapons but secretly continued to develop the programs, culminating in the North's first nuclear test in 2006 under Kim Jong-il. The North had said in past failed talks aimed at dismantling its nuclear program that it could consider giving up its arsenal if the U.S. removed its troops from South Korea and withdrew its so-called nuclear umbrella of deterrence from South Korea and Japan. Many analysts and former negotiators believe this still constitutes North Korea's stance on denuclearization of the Korean peninsula and remain deeply skeptical Mr. Kim is willing to give up the nuclear weapons his family has been developing for decades. Billed as an unofficial trip, Mr. Kim's appearance in Beijing contained almost all the trappings of a state visit, complete with an honor guard and banquet at Beijing's Great Hall of the People. The two leaders also met at the Diaotai State Guest House, where Kim Il-sung planted a tree in 1959 that still stands. State television showed pictures of the two men chatting amiably along with their wives Ri Sol-ju and Peng Luan. China briefed Mr. Trump on Mr. Kim's visit and the communication included a personal message from Mr. Xi to Mr. Trump, the White House said in a statement. The United States remains in close contact with our allies South Korea and Japan. We see this development as further evidence that our campaign of maximum pressure is creating the appropriate atmosphere for dialogue with North Korea, it said.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my STC News channel. Goodbye and see you again.